Today we're going to talk about reading the mountain trout streams. This is a very important slide because it's showing you the spots that the trout locate to feed. They don't just jump in the pool and land where there's some open water. The large trout locate on what I call a primary feeding station. In my way of thinking, that's the location within that pool that'll give them the greatest amount of food for the least amount of effort. You with me on that? The greatest amount of food for the least amount of effort is where the largest trout are going to be, and that's what I call the primary feeding station. Now, I'm coming in from downstream. The first feeding station that I would expect to find a pool is a fish in that pool is what I call the lip. Now, the lip is actually formed by some damming effect of a number of rocks below it, or it could be a boulder coming out, but something is slowing that water down, and that trout can lie right where you see the word lip, and he is going to rise and feed and rise and feed on anything coming through there. See, that's actually accumulating all of the food coming through there. This food's coming over, this food's coming over, and it's funneling right to him. So quite often, especially by, we'll say, middle of April, the largest fish in the pool is going to be on the lip because that's where he's going to get the maximum amount of food. Now, the tail of the pool, which is located right above it, is not that great. The tail of the pool is only at its best when there is no lip. For instance, if this water just filtered down through there real quickly and gave that trout no protection, then he wouldn't be on the lip, he would be on the tail. But you can tell that as you approach the pool. If this water just shoots down through there, then you say, well, maybe he's going to be on the tail. So you'd cast your dry fly up here, preferably on a slack line cast. Let it drift right down to there, a Mr. Rapidan. All spring I've been taking a Mr. Rapidan 14 parachute, and he'll take it just as soon as it drifts to him. See, he's not going to run up and get it. He knows it's going to come to him, so he's going to stay there. All right, now, the third place that they could locate is where the mid-pool. Now, that's usually where the dink is, because the big fish isn't going to be there. He'd have to hold on the bottom and swim to the top to take a fly. Go back to the bottom, swim to the top to take a fly. He'd worry himself out doing it, and a big trout is not going to do that. So the mid-pool, where most people spend the greatest amount of their time fishing, is where the small trout are. Now, the head of the pool is just what it says. This water comes in from above, races down through there. The head of the pool can be valuable right along the edge. He isn't going to be in the heaviest water. He isn't going to be here in the dead water. But he might be where the food comes right down the edge of the head of the pool, where the fast water meets the slow water. In fact, there could be two trout. Often you'll catch one here, maybe right in there. There could be three trout there, head to tail, and they'd stay on that feeding area all day. Now, it's not as good as the lip. The lip so far is going to be the best place in there for the biggest fish in there. All right, so we've got those out of the way. The back eddy is just what it says. The back eddy is formed when the current comes down, hits some kind of obstruction, could be a shallow place like this, then it turns and comes back upstream. Are you with me now? It came down here, it stopped down here, and then turned, it goes back up. That water is basically going upstream, if you will. So that trout is lying right here, looking right at my finger, sip, sip, sip. That's effective, like on the blue quill. If they're not hatching out well, they're kind of trapped in their nymph shuck, and they're riding back round and round and round. So that's the back eddy that's valuable at certain times. Now, the corner of the pool is the primary feeding station if there is no lip. What did I say? The biggest fish in that pool, if he doesn't have a good lip back here, he's going to be that corner. That corner is smaller than the steering wheel in your automobile. Now, that is a miniature Lazy Susan. It's coming, the water's coming around here, and it's doing this. That fish is actually looking at my finger because that's the way the food is coming. Sometimes the corner that I'll see, bigger than a teacup, but not nearly as big as a dinner plate. Now that's going to be, he isn't going to let anybody else stay in there. He's going to have that himself. And if the biggest fish is back here on the lip, then probably the second biggest fish is in the corner. The corner is at its peak, we'll say early March, when we've got a whole lot of water and there's a lot of water racing through there. There's no water racing through that ledge. That water is nice and gentle back there. That fish will get on that feeding station and he'll be there from daylight until dark and he'll rise. Difficult to fish a corner with a nymph because you can't really tell when you're getting strikes. But you can kind of walk in and do what I call a pendulum cast, basically let it swing right over, drop right down into that corner, pow, you got him. So don't ever overlook a corner. Even if you've gotten a good fish on the lip, you're probably going to catch a good fish in the corner. And as I say, if there's too much water in the pool in high water times, the biggest fish is going to be back in that corner. So those are the 6 potential feeding stations in each pool. Now, certainly every pool is not going to have all 6 of those. Some pools will have half of those. But the primary feeding station on the lip or in the corner, whatever you do, don't pass those up. So that's the way I read a pool, that's the way I fish a pool, and that's the way we teach the pool in our classes in the stream. And once you master that, you can catch a lot of fish in any mountain stream, whether they're rainbows, browns, brookies, even cutthroat. Out in some of the small streams in the Yellowstone National Park, same thing applies out there, except I'm catching cutthroat. If you have any questions on that, I go into great detail on that in the book that I've written on trout fishing in the Shenandoah National Park, because that is extremely valuable. That chapter in the book is the most practical. I think it's only about 8 pages long. But if you can master that one chapter in my book on trout fishing in the Shenandoah National Park and get a handle on this, you can fish anywhere in the world. Thank you for watching this. Hope it helps you in your fishing. Thank you much.